Well, we are in May. Can you believe it? April has come and gone, so it is time to do our monthly wrap up for April 2022. So grab some coffee, grab some tea. Personally, I just grabbed my water. It is warming up here in Arizona, so I've got to stay hydrated. So go ahead and get comfy, and we are going to sit and chat for a bit. Well, April came, and we just had taken a couple of trips the last 2 months prior to April. So this month we just stayed put. There was a lot to get done. And so we just stuck around here locally. So no big trips, no big getaways to share with you, but there were two things that were kind of big for me. And one of them was completing the Only 10 Decks for Lent challenge by Sylvain's Deadly Sins. Now, I have a full video, which I will go ahead and link up above one of those areas here. I'm not quite sure where, but I'll go ahead and put the link for that. But that was completed, that was done, and I was so glad that that was over. Now, secondly, one of the things that I hadn't been able to do in a while, or maybe I just hadn't really looked for the opportunities to do it, was teaching kids yoga. I really do enjoy teaching kids yoga, especially the littles. When I was teaching before, they would wrap themselves up in the yoga mat like a little burrito and stuff. And you just kind of give them the space that they need to go ahead and do it. But I was able to go ahead and lead a kids yoga class for a special event that they were holding at the Y. And I just wanted to share some of the books that I feel are just fantastic for kids yoga. So this one is Good Night Yoga or Good Morning Yoga by Marian Gates. She also has a book called Good Night Yoga, which is really, really nice. But if you get this book, if you have littles and they are interested in yoga, it has a really cute little story, and then it has a complete yoga flow for your littles. So that was one of my ways to gather in the littles, is like, hey, I've got a book. Let's do some story time. So that's one of them. Another book that I highly recommend is I Am Peace. This book was given to me at a place that I used to teach kids yoga at, and it's by Susan Verde. And I have to tell you, when I read this book, I cried. I think I just hit my mic, so I'm so sorry. But I cried. I went into tears. It's just so beautiful. And this book right here also holds a very special place in my heart, Zoo Zen. And this is by Kristen Fisher, and art is by Susie Schaefer. I did a special book signing event with the artist of this book back in Orange County. But this book is really, really cute. The illustrations are so beautiful, and that's a really nice book. So that was one of my highlights of the month, is doing kids yoga. It was short and sweet, and I just, like I said in one of my posts, I just love the way that kids are uninhibited by what they think a pose should look like. They just get down there, they do it, they have fun, they laugh, they giggle. It is glorious. I just love it so much. Okay, so let's get into books. I read 2 books this month, and both of them were really, really good. I really enjoyed them. Now, this book was a suggestion to me, and it is Gods of Jade and Shadow. And somebody here recommended that I read this book. I cannot tell you how much I absolutely adored that book. It is really, really a good book. So this is by the same author as Mexican Gothic, which her name is Silvia Moreno Garcia. And the book is set in the 1920s in the Yucatan in Mexico. And the main character of the book her name is Cassiopeia, and she and her mother have been living with her grandfather. She and her mother are at a point where they're just taking care of this house and taking care of the grandfather and the arrogant, horrible cousin. And one day, she goes into her grandfather's room to clean it and comes across a key that magically unlocks the wooden box that is always kept in her grandfather's room. Now, when she goes in to kind of discover what's in the box, she pricks her finger with what turns out to be the bone of a Mexican death god. And the story unfolds from there. She is forced to be an assistant to this god in order to reclaim his missing body parts, to make him whole again so that he can once again have the throne over the underworld. The book is wonderful. I don't want to give away too much in case you're really interested in reading it, but she comes to life. She really grows through this experience, and so does this Lord of the Underworld. It is just an amazing book. I really enjoyed it. If you like Mexican culture, if you like studying deities and all of the tools that were used during that time, including obsidian knives, and all these things are referenced in this book, and it just made it such an amazing experience for me. As a matter of fact, in the back of the book, which I thought was really clever, now I had to return the book because I borrowed it from the library, but in the back of the book, she even includes like a little glossary where she talks about, and I made a copy of it because I just thought it's such a nice little glossary of frequently used words when referring to the Mayan culture and all of those things. So it was a really, really good book. It was so deep, and it offered such insightful and thought-provoking little quotes that you can take from that book. It was an amazing book, and that book is just going to stay with me for a long time. I really enjoyed it. Okay, second book that I read was Bohemian Magic by Veronica Verlo, and I hope that the glare is not too much. This book is just, look at this book. Oh my gosh, you guys, it is beautiful, completely gorgeous. Now, I came across this book several months ago at Barnes & Noble, and I opened it up, and it has all this beautiful art in it. Let me go ahead and see if I can share it with you without losing my my place here. But just beautiful art, as if you're looking at somebody's journal. It was just beautiful. But one of the first things that I opened it up to was Dearly Beloved, We Are Gathered Here Today. That was the title of the spell in the book, and I was like, wait a minute, what is going on with this book? So Veronica Verlo, just so that you know, has a website called Love Witch. And in that particular website, she states that she guides badass women in their own raw instinctual power through love magic, sensuality, body confidence, sacred ceremony, and tantra. She's a bohemian witch, and she is also a burlesque showgirl. She is a love and confidence coach, and she specializes in love spells and refers to herself as a love witch. This book is just stunning. When you look at it, it is just stunning. Like most of the people that do tarot, they are just enamored by, oh, you saw Frida, right? But enamored by journaling and all these beautiful, like me lately, I've been into this beautiful collage art within all my decks and stuff, and I just can't get enough of it. But when you look at it, it's kind of like you're looking at somebody's journal. So it's like this beautiful combination of her story or her history, along with these bohemian practices that are her own. She includes personal pictures, and really, like, you're reading into her. She's really letting you know all about herself. And then the songs that she picks songs that are the names of her spells, which is where it was like I was had. That was it. Once I kept looking at the book in Barnes & Noble and noticed that all the books had names like We Can Be Heroes, Walk This Way, Hello, I Love You. The thing that I loved about this book is that it's just delivered so effortlessly. It's almost like you've come into her living room, you're sitting down with her. I mean, like, I can envision it when you're reading this book, like you're having a cup of tea with her, and you can hear music playing in the background, and you're sitting on big fluffy pillows and just chilling with her. And then she starts talking to you about how she came about her magic, and then she starts sharing with you about her magic and how she does her magic and everything about her magic, and starts getting into the details. And it's lovely. It's a natural, empowering, and beautiful written book, and just beautifully illustrated. The way that she describes it is like, when you look in here, like, she doesn't want it to look perfect. She wants it to look like your journal would look, or like your grimoire would look, you know, kind of. Doesn't have to be perfect. This idea of perfection that we get in our heads. I also came across this beautiful podcast with The Witch Wave with Pam Grossman, where she interviewed her, and it is just a beautiful unfolding. I'll go ahead and include the link for that particular podcast down below. But it's just magical. And one of the spells that I'm not going to share the spell with you, but I just want to share the idea. And this one, again, when I was in the bookstore, really stood out to me, because all of a sudden there's a picture of Frida, and the spell is called the Magic Bus. So, of course, right, the Magic Bus. The spell is just gorgeous and powerful, and the idea of this, which I just fell in love with, is to use your muses, not just your ancestors, not just your guides, but your muses, which in my case, everybody who watches my channel knows how much I love Frida. So using those as your inspiration, to call them on your magic bus, to ride along with you, to teach you, to guide you, to help you, to be your inspiration. It's a lovely, lovely book. If you have the opportunity to check it out, please do. If you walk into your local Barnes & Noble or bookshop or whatever you have close by, look for this book, because it is a gorgeous book. Just to hold it is just absolutely beautiful. So next, we are talking about all the other stuff. Here we're getting into the journals, the crystals, and the tools. All right, so journal. I still did not pick up my Frida journal for this month, because after I got done with the only 10 decks for Lent, I have to tell you, I just went a little hog wild, and I was just like pulling decks left and right. So I don't know how this is going to look when we get to the deck section, because there is a lot of decks that I need to mention in this particular video. So my journal, last month, that was at the point where I was not doing anything special in my journal. I was just writing down words and journaling, and I did find that I was writing down more. I was more involved with my journal. So this month, I've taken more of like that happy medium kind of approach, where I just started a few little doodles here and there, and just kind of printed off a few things and doodled a few things in here, but I'm keeping it simple. I'm keeping it easy this month. I'm not really, I even like bought some cute little printouts online, and I just glued those into my journal and made them part of the journal. And I've enjoyed it, just using my little colored pencils. And I have continued to draw my little icons for the day sign for Mayan astrology. I'm continuing with that. But I'm just really keeping the journal portion simple, easy, and I'm really enjoying the balance of it all right now. So that's where I am with my journal. As far as crystals, okay, wait, let me open this up, because I do keep track in my journal of everything that I buy that's new, everything that comes into my collection, everything is in here. So, crystals, all right. Now, I know this may sound silly, but I did not have any ambertine. So I went ahead and bought some ambertine. I hope that you can see this, but it is a combination of amethyst and citrine. Very, very beautiful. And I do like these little sized crystals, because for one, as you're meditating, you can kind of hold them in your hand. And actually, that's usually part of the test for me, is if I can hold it and rub it with my finger. If it feels good in the hand, then usually that's one that I want. And I usually, if there's smaller crystals like this, I usually always buy 2 because I like to do crystal gridding. So when I'm gridding, I have 2 so I can put on opposite ends of whatever I'm gridding with. All right, another one that I bought, she called it Bulvanite, but it's a combination of serpentine and fluorite, and it's kind of a little beigey and has a few little purples in the mix. And I don't know if it is actually Bulvanite or not, because I kept seeing a reference to amartine described as Bulvanite. So any crystal experts out there that want to go ahead and shed light on this, again, it is serpentine and fluorite, but it is supposed to assist with mental clarity and psychic ability, heart and third eye. I haven't really worked with it so far, but they're cute. I like them. Now, obsidian, I can never get enough obsidian. And it occurred to me that although I have a lot of obsidian, that's one of my main dudes there. I didn't have a lot of rainbow obsidian little pieces here. So again, for gridding, I went ahead and bought some rainbow obsidian. And the last thing that I bought, I didn't buy any major purchases with this kind of stuff, just little odds and ends here and there. This is pink amethyst. It's from Argentina and neutralizes anxiety and stress, gut disorders, and high blood pressure. So that's where we are with it. And again, I haven't worked with that either. These little crystals I was able to pick up at a local shop here in Gilbert, and you might know her from Instagram. It's called Zend Out. Her name is Cassie Uhl, but she has a little shop here in Gilbert, Arizona, and unfortunately she is going to be moving away and closing the shop soon, so I've kind of been visiting her a little bit. The next thing that I bought from Cassie at Zend Out was this adorable little mini cauldron. I just love this thing. It's so cute. I haven't even used it yet, and I'll tell you why. So I bought this last month, and my plan was to use it for Beltane. But maybe you guys can help me out here. One of my last purchases for charcoal disc was this 3 Kings Premium Coconut Charcoal. I could not light it. Use my copal incense burner, and I couldn't light the darn thing at all. Like, I tried for a long time, couldn't light it. So if anybody has any idea about how to light a charcoal disc that's made out of coconut charcoal disc, please let me know. I usually use this right here, which is the Swift Light charcoal disc, and I never have any problems. It lights up and it makes cute little flares and everything, and I just love it, watching it spark as it lights up. Maybe that's part of the charm for me, I don't know, but I couldn't get the other one lit. So if you know how to light that, please let me know, because I have a full package that I can't even use. Decks, the part that we all want to hear, right? All right. The Asherah Tarot. I have yet to do a walkthrough of this deck. I have been using it the past few days, and I am really enjoying it. This is a Thoth-based deck. This had been on my wish list for quite some time, so when she opened up the orders again and saying that she was reprinting again, I quickly went ahead and ordered it as fast as I could to get this deck in. So, okay, the next new deck that I received in, like many other people, is the Seasons of the Witch Beltane. And this deck I used a lot during this month, of course, right? And the next deck, which I did a full review of, was the Lakshmi Oracle. And this is a really nice, very traditional style deck of deities, but it's done very traditionally. I really enjoy this deck. Very nicely done, very respectfully done. Another deck that I received this month was the Trionfi de la Luna, with the illustrated pips rather. I've yet to do a walkthrough, but I do have plans to go ahead and do so. There are many people that have done a walkthrough already, so I guess I'm really not that much in a hurry to do it. I don't know. All right. The other deck that I got this month, two more. The Yogini Oracle. These are some big cards. But this one is so cool. It's all about the 64 Yoginis, and it has a little mantra in there. I have yet to do a walkthrough, but I will be doing a walkthrough for this deck because this is another one that I am really, really enjoying. Now, the other one that I did a walkthrough on this, the Serpentfire Tarot. Oh my goodness, guys, this deck is just blowing my mind. I am so enjoying this deck, so much so that when I got it in, I thought, I don't know if I want the She-Wolf or not, but I knew that I wanted the Serpentfire because of the Page of Cups, which of course is Frida. I'm gonna see if I can find her in here real quick just to show you, because I can never get enough of Frida. There we go. That's why I ordered this deck, and I really do enjoy it. It is a Thoth-based deck, but I started enjoying it so much that I quickly went out and ordered the She-Wolf Tarot, which is going to be for this month. But I'm really enjoying that deck, and of course, these decks like the Asherah and the Serpentfire all require for me to use this book. And then there's another website online that I've been using, which is coming really, really handy. So that's it for new decks. Now the decks that I used, as I said, I was still finishing up the only 10 decks for Lint. So there were a few other decks, and like I said, I did go a little hog wild with using decks this month. Full moon, I used the Sacred Bee Tarot, which is just lovely. And that's also a Thoth-based deck, but I've had that one in my collection for quite some time. But I use that along with the Seasons of the Witch Beltane Oracle. And this deck has bees all over it. So I thought, how appropriate would it be for me to use that deck with bees? I'm going to go ahead and leave this deck out because I used it with a lot of my decks this month. Okay. Next, the following week, I went ahead and continued using the Crimson Asteria Tarot. There is a full walkthrough of that deck. I love that deck, along with the Vessel Oracle, which again, I have a full walkthrough of that deck. And then for my final week, I used Witch's Wisdom along with Seed and Sickle. So now if you want to look into those, I will put the link for the only 10 decks for Lint in here. And so that wrapped up my only 40 days for Lint, and I was so excited about that. Week 3, I was still using the Sacred Bee Tarot and Beltane, which again is what I used for the full moon on April 16th. I went back to using the Lilith Tarot, and I used that this time along with the Reclaim Oracle, which was just magical together. Same creator, beautiful, beautiful. I love that creator. She's just gorgeous. I didn't bring something down, but it is the Herbcrafters along with the Earthcraft Oracle. That is such a beautiful combination. I just love that. Week 4, I used the Solara Occulto Tarot along with Goddess on Earth Oracle. Now I have a full walkthrough of the Goddess on Earth Oracle, but I'll just share this with you very quickly because it is just such a stunning and beautiful deck. And this is all modern day women embodying that spirit, that energy of goddesses. I like it. Really, really nice. I'm very picky about my goddess decks, and this one really works. And I hate showing this one because I know you can't get a hold of it, but it's one of my favorites, which is the Solara Occulto Tarot, which is also made as the same creator as the Crimson Asteria Tarot. So that was week 4. And then I used the Spacious Tarot, which everybody's familiar with the Spacious Tarot, I think, just about. Just a beautiful tarot deck, so clear, so concise, where you walk in and experience being within the scene, along with the Yogini's Oracle. And they worked really, really well together. I really did like that combination. So for the new moon, here's another one that I just didn't bring down, I don't think. I used the Threads of Fate along with the Serpentfire Tarot. Whoa, that was a lot of decks, and that wasn't even half of them, to be honest with you, because on the 15th of April, I was just opening up deck after deck after deck and just touching all of them. I just wanted to touch all of them. But these were the main decks that I used that I went ahead and really took the time to journal with and spend some more time with. So that's it, guys. That is my monthly wrap up for April 2022. Thank you so much for joining me and for sticking around for the conversation. I wish you a day filled with love, joy, and happiness from my heart to yours. I will see you later.